Wonderful. Can't believe it's the 8th one.
Open training camp. How did the veteran guys, the guys who've been the mainstays, kind of band together about bringing the rookies in, especially on the defensive side of the ball, where you have so many rookies who have a chance to make significant impacts? What do you guys have to put on your shoulders to get them acclimated?
I don't really think it's going to take anything extra than what we've brought to the team, all these years, to be honest. Like, I think the key is to be consistent, setting the tone every single day. And as the young guys see that, they fall right in line. You see it every single year. Guys just kind of come in there like, oh, shoot, like, all right, like this is how it's supposed to be done. And they kind of just fall in line. And, you challenge those guys. But training camp is about competition. It's about building this thing from the ground up. Every team around the league right now, all 32, they're talking about how they would want to go and win a Super Bowl. And it sounds great, but, it takes so much time before you even think about something like that, right? It's just about taking it one day at a time and really just building it.
Did you have any conversations with the young guys about what they need to be doing during the 40 days away?
Yeah, no, I had a great conversation. I think we beat it into the young guys more than anybody in the league, honestly, like just talking about what those 40 days need to look like. And I remember me and George sitting up here with the rookies, sitting where you guys were sitting and talking to them about how we go about it. There's different ways to get from point A to point B, but more than anything, it's about just putting yourself in the best position possible to compete in training camp.
I asked head coach Kyle Shanahan about like the realistic expectations, given that so many young guys can be out there starting with you guys. From your perspective as a leader, is there anything that you're saying to them where it's like, I want you to dial in on this. You need to pay attention to this. This is something that you need to do so that we can be successful and kind of minimize those mistakes early on.
Yeah, to be honest, I know a lot of the narrative right now is that we're relying on these young rookies specifically to come in and play meaningful minutes for us, which is true. Like, we're going to need young guys just like we do every single year to come in and have a role for our team, whether it's offense, defense, special teams. But you got to remember that they are rookies too, and that we have a lot of guys who we either brought in through free agency or young guys who have been on the team who they need to take that next step, right? Like, they need to be able to fill roles and be just as big a part of the team as the rookies. And rookies are going to be rookies. Like, you got to continue to teach them and coach them, and that's the coach's job, right? I'm there to help lead and guide as much as I can, but at the end of the day, like, everybody's got to do their 111 out on the field.
What have you seen from D. Winters this offseason?
I've seen a lot of growth, honestly. I think I've seen a guy who's ready to take that next step. D has flashed in a big way through his first 2 seasons, and I think year 3 is that year where it's like, man, I know the system. I know what I needed to do in the offseason, and now it's time for me to take control and really put it on tape. And so I'm excited for D, really. I think he had a great OTAs. I know that he's been working his tail off to be ready for training camp. And so I'm excited to see what he's going to do.
Were there points last season where you thought, okay, he's right on the verge of kind of taking over that weak side role, and then, I don't know, an injury would happen and he would, move backwards? I mean, where was he last year? And do you see a different player this year?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things that people don't really talk about a lot, is like just being healthy enough to be out there and get those reps and really compound, putting things together over and over and over again. When you have an injury, it kind of sets you back, and then you kind of start back over from where you were, and you're constantly playing this battle of trying to, like, stay in it, staying in shape. You can't just continue to get better at your craft, right? And so I think that's going to be the biggest thing for him this training camp, honestly, is just be out there every single day with intent to be better, and to really own it. If you want it to be yours, it's there for the taking. And, I think that's the biggest thing for him, man, is just playing with confidence. If you want to be that guy, man, to go out there and show your teammates, show the coaches, show everybody that you're ready, and so I'm excited for him, honestly.
Can you talk about how ready your ankle is now after you rested mostly in the spring, I'm guessing, to stay off it after what you did last season, and how you're feeling coming into camp?
Yeah, no, I feel amazing. OTAs was honestly had nothing to do with the ankle. It was just how my process has gone these last few years of not having to be out there during phase 3. But I feel the best I've ever felt.
Have you reflected on just what you went through last year to stay on the field every game and
You
with
know,
how it tested you?
yeah, no, I mean, it's crossed my mind, especially going into camp now, like knowing like during my training, like not having to even think about it or worry about it is like, it's a breath of fresh air, honestly, just to be able to go out there and just be myself again. But I'll have time to fully reflect on all that stuff at the very end.
What's something you wish you knew as a rookie that you know now?
Probably that everybody is a human being just like me. You know, it's like I think the biggest hurdle for a rookie is like that mental hurdle of like, all right, my whole childhood I've been growing up watching these guys on TV, and even in college, you know, you watch players that you admire from afar, and then you're finally here, and it's like, oh my God, that's George Kittle, and oh, it's Christian McCaffrey. Oh my gosh, Nick Bosa. And it's like you can't really like fathom putting yourself on that same level as the type of guys that have been there and done it and earned it at the highest level, right? And so, but at the end of the day, they are human beings, and we were all rookies once. And you know, you're here for a reason. You obviously have the talent to compete at this level. The only thing that we have to our advantage is that experience. And so, the quicker that you can catch on to the plays and really realizing that you belong, you can really let your youth and you know, your ability to go out there and compete and be a guy.
You can't believe it's day one. Does it feel like you've been chomping at the bit in January to get here, finally here in the season?
Yeah, most definitely the longest off season of my life. You know, it was just like obviously not making the playoffs. It did feel long. It was needed. I think everybody kind of got that recovery, rejuvenation, whatever you want to call it, to you know, really fuel that fire going into this camp. And I fully expect it to be the most competitive and hard-fought camp that we've had.
Best non-football thing.
John Lynch told a story of you back in 2018 about him going into the locker room at night one night, thinking that the locker room was empty, and he found you sort of in the corner looking at an iPad, studying, essentially. Do you ever relay that to, you know, a Nick Martin, rookies, and do you see any of those guys doing that sort of studying that it takes to really make an impact as a rookie?
Yeah, no, I honestly try to be a help to any of the young players that I can anytime they got questions and giving them that feedback that I can. I think I remember just as a rookie wanting to make sure I was on top of it in terms of the playbook because, like I mentioned before, everybody else who's been here, they have that experience and the advantage of having been here and learned the system, right? So they're able to kind of just get right into the flow of like, man, let me work on my craft versus a rookie. You're learning the plays while trying to be in shape and trying to work on your breaks and your punches. It's like it's so many different things you're trying to battle. It's like the last thing you want to think about in a play is like, man, what's my assignment? You know what I'm saying? So the more that you can study and catch up in that way mentally, that's going to allow you to now have a chance at competing and doing those little small minute details that we harp on every single day, right? So yeah, man, I try to help it in any way I can.
What was your non-football highlight of the offseason?
Non-football highlight. You know, honestly, just having as much time as I did with my wife and my son, it was amazing. Just being able to spend time with them and kind of travel around, do what we did, and you know, I'm big on family time, so I'll miss that part the most.
When you entered camp with Saleh, who's new but obviously not new, is it different? I mean, I guess I'm asking, with Wilson, Sorensen, by the time you guys got to camp, did you feel like, okay, we got a new coordinator, but we're all on the same page? Or did it take a while the last 2 years to kind of feel like, okay, we're a little more cohesive?
Yeah, no, I mean, I felt like we were in a great spot the last 2 years. You know, I think the ability to continue to play in the same system through 8 years now has been a huge advantage for a guy like me or a guy like Bosa or anybody who's played in the system. Like when you're able to really continue to perfect your craft in the same system, that's where you get better. And so obviously it's been different coaches, different adjustments, but at the end of the day, playing in the same system has been a game changer. Cool, guys.